We're now, our faces are live.
Hello. My
Wow.
camera is glitching. I can't figure out the problem. Not within the set time limits that we have.
He's just from the future.
I'm not from the future, but that other me that you're seeing flickering occasionally, he is from the future. He is invading.
I see.
Invading.
We're going to be playing Torg tonight, apparently. Reality
Torg?
Wars. You've never heard of Torg?
No.
Oh man, it's one of the first generic systems. They had like magic wizards fighting kung fu samurai, fighting cyberpunks, fighting jet planes, fighting dragons. It's pretty cool.
Nice.
Sounds like Sucker Punch.
It's the
Sounds like
reality
Smash
war.
Sounds like a 13-year-old's wet dream.
It was that too.
That's basically what, yeah.
They had the gothic horror setting. And all these realities were invading Earth, trying to reshape it in their own image, so it was the only version of reality.
Load
Pretty
in
cool.
roll 20. I am in roll 20.
And yeah, just give me a minute. I'll load up roll 20.
Okay.
I'm really getting sick of Roll20 loading the islands last.
Oh crap! I didn't
All
finish my
of the
beliefs.
text
Okay.
is behind the islands when we load in.
I finished my beliefs, but what did I write them down?
Yeah, I think I need to move the text like on the token layer. And then
Oh,
fix
is it on the
that.
GM layer?
No, it's on the. I moved everything to like the background layer because it was all on the object and token layer.
Right.
But yeah, if I move the text to the token layer, that would fix it.
Okay.
I'm just thinking of this now.
Okay. I thought I wrote down my beliefs, but I didn't write them down, so I'm just doing that now.
My computer is at 100% CPU. Alright, I'm just going to load roll 20 in Firefox. Because Chrome can't handle it.
It's very strange.
But Chrome is a
Beset
CPU
by-
hog.
We were just beset by technical gremlins today.
Yeah.
And we're trying to
Firefox.
use OBS for the first time.
Uh,
I mean, we're
Oh.
trying to use Google Hangouts for the first time, not OBS. I always use OBS.
Yes. So. And we are live currently, right?
Yeah, I think
At
so.
this time, audience.
It says I
Uh,
have no drop frames. So that's all that matters, right?
No drop frame. This is awesome.
As long as we keep having
Um,
no drop frames.
Yep.
Okay. Alright, you should see me in roll 20 now.
Yep. I see
Yep.
you.
yeah.
Cool.
All right, so are we ready to start officially?
Yeah.
I'm go last for me on my bits because I have them in my head. I thought I had them down as well, though.
Okay. Well, then who wants to start with their bits? Because we should go over those first before we
Sure.
jump in.
I deleted my old bits, so I only have my new bits.
Was there stuff we wanted to go over? Because this is like, quote, quote, season 2? Before we talk about beliefs or anything? Or
I mean,
we can. I had some like opening stuff that is just, stuff that's going to have, stuff that has happened. At times a little screwy at the moment.
Okay.
But yeah, I can launch into that if you guys want.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
All right, so we get a view of it's a very rainy night in the jungles of Bryansk, and we kind of zoom down into the capital city, and you see this this manse with, like, you know, the Russian minarets, you know, they're like bulbous and they come to a point and they're like multicolored and everything. There's 2 or 3 of those on spires on this big mansion looking place. And as we zoom down, we see through a window this fairly opulent looking, I guess you'd call it a throne room, you know, where the Duchess of Bryansk holds court. So we see the fairly ornate chair, and in it we see a 12-year-old girl wearing very ostentatious trying to describe it correctly. It's just a very ostentatious dress. It's very, very bright pink. And she's wearing, you know, white leggings and very polished pink shoes. In her hair is a lacquered crown with gems and stuff all sewn in. Her hair is golden blonde, is curled in your typical what's her name? Anyway, it's you know, it's the curled locks just dangling down.
Goldilocks or
yeah, in ringlets. My girlfriend gives me the correct word. But yeah, and she has a very stern look on her face, and she's talking to a man in what appears to be a decorated military uniform. And she looks at him and says, "They think they can come into my territory and take this, whatever it was, from me. We had our people down there looking for whatever." Now I'm blanking on people's names. Sorry, I'm a little nervous. I haven't done this in a while.
It's all right, man.
No, we had sent
Yvonne.
Yvonne, thank you. Yeah, we had sent Yvonne to investigate that site. It was ours, and he assured me he would be coming back with something. If those fools think they can steal from me and live, they have another thing coming. General, we march on Path Askew within the week. And the general nods curtly at her, and says, "Duh, it will be done. Our armies are ready to march. We will. Your orders will be carried out." So we smash cut 1 week later. You guys, the party is just boarding the ship to leave the island. It's nighttime. You guys or the 3 of you, Nico, Ernest, and Edwin, are standing in the back of the ship, watching as you start to cast off and start sailing away. Edwin, you notice something as you look back toward the city. There seems to be someone pushing their way down the dock rather gruffly.
Okay.
He gets to the end of the dock and kind of just locks eyes with you. He has sort of a blank expression on his face, but you can see his eyes. They're fairly intense. And there is one other thing you notice about this guy as you're trying to place where you've seen him before. He looks sort of familiar. As you happen to look down and you notice his shoes, they look really familiar to you.
What?
It's a pair of shoes you once owned.
I think it's time to get out of here. Is everybody on the boat?
Yeah. You guys are leaving. This guy,
off.
this guy can't make it. He didn't make it to the boat in time, but
Okay.
yeah, he's staring daggers at you. And,
shit.
And, yeah, you recognize this. You at least recognize his shoes.
I poke at Ernest and motion at the guy. Ernest,
Who's that?
who is that?
Yeah?
I don't know.
Who's that?
If you ever see that man, I need to know immediately.
Ernest just nods.
Okay. Edwin is just...
And then, probably, glares at the guy, sort of studying him, but also trying to be, mildly intimidating as he drifts away.
Edwin is just freaking out and tries not to show it.
Okay.
All right, so the boat sails off, and we get a bit of the camera pans up to the moon, and we get a screen dissolve, and we come back in on the same moon a couple of days later. It's
so where it was a almost full moon, now it's completely full.
Yeah. We pan down through heavy clouds, very dark, very heavy. There's thunder and lightning, storming, and we pan down to a city. It's Edwayne City of the Path Askew. And it pans down to the outside walls. There's two guards standing there, huddled next to a glowing brazier. They're wearing thick oiled cloaks, and they're just, hunched over trying to keep the rain off. They're talking to each other, grumbling about the weather and everything, and very suddenly a couple of shadows flash across. They flash across the screen. You see blood splatter on the wall as steel flies through the air, and the two guards go down. We then see a couple more people come up with grappling hooks in their hands as they spin them around and throw them to the top of the wall, and they feverishly start climbing up the ropes onto the top of the battlements. Once about 5 of them get up top, they make their way along the battlements toward the gatehouse that opens the portcullis. They manage to quickly subdue a couple of people there, open up the gates, and then a thunderous roar is heard as probably 300-400 people start screaming and running out of the trees toward the now open gate. We pan back up as we start hearing the sounds of alarm bells and cries and swords clashing. And then we cut over to the ship, which is in just as big of a storm, rocking back and forth. You guys are in the cabin with Kirill, making your way to the island of Dovan. The boat's pitching around on the waves. Kirill is actually huddled in the corner. He's got a bucket between his knees, and he looks rather green. And Nico looks over at Edwin and says, "I tell you, that thing is cursed. We've at least another week until we reach Dovan. I didn't think Kirill will last that long." And his last statement is punctuated by Kirill in the corner. Into the bucket.
Edwin was I wanted them to come to us, I don't know what to say. would have
Ernest
been safe at
is
home.
sitting on his bed, trying not to do a Kirill at this time. He's like stone. His face is a slight pale green. He's like gripping, like his just like hands are in fists. He's just gripping probably like the bed side, like the frame of the bed, and he's just sort of like super tense, trying to control everything in his body. I have the sickly trait. That's still a thing.
Yeah.
It's not. It's
Yeah.
So he's trying not to throw up as well, and I think the only like thing he says is just, "I hate boats."
I think Edwin is perfectly fine.
Oh yeah, probably.
Not quite the sea sickly trait.
No. Plus he has a fort of 6. He's pretty used to being at sea.
Well, since you guys are pretty much riding out this storm for at least 3 weeks, go ahead and mark a challenging fort test.
Nice.
Okay.
Just for the crap that you've had to endure going there.
Oh sweet! I need 1 difficult test to advance.
Yeah, one more challenging
So
and I advance.
What things would involve fort, for example? I'm actually not sure.
Fort,
Staying awake all night.
yeah,
It's
physical
basically
stress.
con.
It's
Okay.
basically the endurance stat,
Okay, so like staying up all night and things like that.
right?
For fort. Okay. Cool. I'm just writing my last belief.
Can I also have
Yeah, you guys.
a will check for writing an essay?
For writing an essay?
Yeah.
Is it? What essay are you writing?
The essay that I want Edwin to write is I want him to have submitted an essay to the Mages Guild about the historical events that he saw while he was on his latest expedition.
Okay,
And
go ahead and
the failure
go
would
ahead and
be
make that test.
the failure would be is if I fail it, then his superstitions leak into the text, and it's hard to tell what actually happened and what is just his superstition of what actually happened. All right.
Yeah, go ahead and make the test, and I'll we'll go from there on
Okay.
how they respond to that.
I'm going to fail it. Hold on. Where is composition? We'll add it in.
Are you writing this on the boat, or was this like?
This is something
Before you
that
left.
Edwin
We have 3
probably
weeks,
wrote
so-
on the boat or on the trip
Yeah.
from the mountain excavation to the capital city.
Okay.
All right.
And it's a composition test? You said.
Yeah. Well, that's odds too.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have 2 dice to do it,
Mm,
but it doubles because I don't have the skill to odds for.
Yeah, I was gonna add another ob on there for riding in a pitchy boat too.
All
Alright.
Well, yeah. If we have 3 weeks, Ernest is practicing his fighting.
Okay.
I don't know if he's going to do much else, because as much as he likes practicing things, there's no one to seduce.
Well, I
There
mean,
are-
there's cabin boys.
That's true. Let me look. 3 weeks.
in that case, can I fork in, let's say, ancient history?
Well, if you
That
don't,
roll?
if you don't have the skill, you can't fork.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Someone can help.
I don't have a loot on me. I was borrowing someone else's. I would like to practice knots.
Yeah, just
I'll say that if practice knots, we'll figure out how many hours a day that takes. But if that's the only other thing practicing with it is, I'm sure that I will definitely have the time anyways.
Yep.
I'm just going to say it's a letter then, and not a whole essay. Because I really need an OBS 2 test.
Are you just writing a letter?
Yeah, I'm writing a letter of what I saw there to, like, my old instructor.
Okay.
Alright. So I failed that, so now he hears all my superstitious ramblings. And my roll goes up to 3.
Composition is will-based?
Yep. It's will
Nice.
or perception.
Okay.
And I'm choosing to do will
Yeah,
because I really need to increase my will. So Edwin is not the best written guy on the planet right now.
No.
He's got published papers, but there's a bunch of stick figures all over in the margins. And
Your notes are not very legible.
all right, so yeah, you guys go through a bunch of nonsense getting to the island. Like the last 2 days, you finally breach out of the storms into calm seas, and once you come upon Dovan, like you're coming up. I made a party token here. Once you get to about here, you start seeing the island, and from the south side, the island of Dovan, it's a relatively small island. It's about 9 miles across, but most of the island is rock wall, about 60 feet up. The only place you can actually land is on the northeast side of it, where there's beach. There's also a lighthouse there. I will bring you guys to over to that. This is the island itself. So yeah, as the boat comes around to about where that is in the top, and the captain comes to your cabin and says, you're going to have to take the dinghy out and row because the draft on the boat isn't shallow enough to get any closer to the island.
Okay. Edwin looks at the boat. I guess it's just big enough for like the 3 of us.
The boat holds about 10 people, but yeah, I mean he's going to let you take it, and one of his guys will go with you and bring it back.
Okay, that's fine. And yeah, I guess I'll get in the boat, and they're sending one of their people to bring it back. So I guess I expect him to roll, and then I expect Ernest to roll.
Okay. Should we do bits before we continue on?
Yeah, probably a good idea.
Okay,
Sure.
so while we're rowing,
yep.
Meanwhile,
while we're rolling, the credits start, and then
exactly.
the bits show up next to each
with
of
us
our characters.
Background.
It's like you can like see flashbacks of each of us, like thinking about these beliefs and the events that shape these beliefs.
So, well, Nico doesn't have. It's just Golden and myself for now until we meet Matron. So, Golden, you go first. I'm writing my final belief right now.
All right. So I've got 3 new beliefs. The first one is actually this is the old belief, but I've changed it. So the conspiracy is a group of brigands and thieves, and must be rooted out of the islands. But I must get them to fund my research of the artifact. So what I'm trying to do there is, I'm trying to see that I get a deeds point for handing over this artifact, even though, like, my character doesn't have any knowledge of what the price is that he's paid for stealing this artifact, and giving it to the conspiracy instead of to Bryansk's, but the player definitely knows. Belief number 2. The Cold War should start between Halfwind and Tima Nungia, so I should convince the organization to make it appear that both of our countries have artifacts. So Halfwind is the nation or the city-state that Edwin belongs to, and Tima Nungia is a city-state that one of my contacts or one of my relationships belongs to. So I'm like the scion of Halfling, and she's the scion of Tima Nungia. So it makes sense to my character that they should both be major players. But
Mugnia was the name of the island.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah.
I guess we haven't named the city states.
The only names for counties we have are the Halfwind, Patherskew, and Bryansk.
Okay.
Other than that, I didn't have anything.
Alright, I misunderstood that then. So I'll have to make up a county name for her. Not right now. And Edwin doesn't know what's happened to his city, so it still seems reasonable to him. And the third belief, if Maud was here, she would have my back, but she's not. So I must gather what allies I have. Maud is another relationship Edwin has. She's a dwarf. She was an archaeologist like him. So he's not trying to contact her directly, but he has put a word out to his other allies at the end of last session. And hopefully he'll be able to convince them to help him accomplish, or at least put pressure on the organization, some kind of goal that we're going to decide tonight. My instincts, the first instinct is kind of a don't fuck me on this instinct, behave in a sane and rational manner. Because I don't think Edwin is actually crazy. I think he's just been through some rough shit. And he has a strong belief that magic exists. And the supernatural exists. And instinct number 2, when I find a good man, find a use for him. This instinct is the same. And I think this is like the, the counterpoint. Edwin always is trying to make a better world, even if he's not the best person himself. And the third instinct is ask the story behind any ancient item I see. Because Edwin has a insatiable curiosity. And he likes talking about that, things he's curious about.
Well, I just finished my third belief, which actually lines up perfectly with yours.
Okay.
My third belief out of 4. So, my first belief. You can't truly know someone until you fought with them or against them. Matrim is a hard man to read. I want to know him better. I want to know how conspiracies like this organization have worked out in the past. Mathilda should know. I want to talk to her about this. Lord Edwin seems very distressed lately, staying up for days on end and sometimes acting erratically. I want to know what has him so on edge. And then my fourth consistent belief, due to my loyalty trait, is I am the assistant and guardian to Lord W. Doing what he says is most important, and protecting him is second most. I don't plan to mix these two up as long as his coin keeps flowing. My instincts are the same. Always use violence, or the threat of it, to get what I want. Always maintain my arms and armor, and whenever I have free time, practice fighting with my mace. My traits are now with our trait vote. Golden, I guess you want to probably say yours. I don't know if you did. I think you did. Mine are loyal to Edwin Wilson, cultural imperious, I'm vindictive, cultural close-minded, I'm stoic. Those are all character traits. My die traits are light sleeper, stubborn, broken, and sickly. And my call-on trait, my single one, is back-breaking labor.
Cool.
That is it. Finn. Fiend. Is it Fiend or just Finn?
It depends on what country you're in when you're saying it.
Okay.
Finn is good enough for us.
Okay.
Do we want to go over matrons, or do we want to do that like when we introduce them?
I think let's do like a Borderlands. We see the character, pause everything, and it'll give us like a rundown of them. So let's do that.
It'll be fairly quick anyway. So yeah.
Right clicking, inspect.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Insight check.
I'll just go through my traits real quick. I have the Your Lordship trait, Superstitious, which reflects Edwin's belief in the supernatural, the Fox Mulder style. The Know-It-All trait, the Stubborn trait, the Impetuous trait. He got the Prestige Seeker trait, because he's always trying to get more well-known. He has the Aloof trait, because he won't mess with stuff like rowing the boat. He's got the Mark of Privilege trait. And I have a lot of relationships. I have a cousin named Isabel, who is also a priestess, and a rival leader of a city-state. I have Valerie, who's a smuggler lord. He's also a lord, and he's a cousin. He's the brother of Isabel. And I have Maud, who is another archaeologist. She's also a dwarf. And then I have Katerina, who's an enemy circle, who wasn't mentioned in the intro, but apparently has something to do with that.
Yep, she'll come around.
Okay. And then there's Grenda, my yak. And she's on the boat. She probably is not happy at all.
Okay. All right, so yeah, you are, I guess, Ernest and the unnamed sea dog are pulling oars.
Yep.
Toward the lighthouse.
Should we bother with a check? I don't think so.
No, I don't think there's anything interesting that could happen from a failure.
Mm-hmm.
But you all die at sea. Good game. See you next week.
That was so funny from Primer. It was like, please don't test that. Please don't test that. Please don't test that.
Well, Ernest fails, but the other guy knows what he's doing, so you're just doing circles for like 3 hours.
I'm actually forgetting. When did I say that? Because I remember saying that, but what was it about?
I don't know.
Anyone?
I don't remember you
when
saying
did I say that again, Seth? Did I say that?
No, it was like implied with how you were saying you were rowing the boat. I was like, should that be a test? No, I don't think that should be a test. It's just like, no.
Well, I need a fort test, and that is probably power, but could be fort.
No, it's power, but I think there might be a rowing skill that you'd have to.
Oh, okay.
Test, but yeah. But yeah, there's nothing interesting that happens from failure from that. So yeah, you guys make it. It takes you a little over an hour.
Okay.
And you make your way onto the beach. There is a lighthouse here. You can see up at the top, it's got a fairly bright light source. You're not exactly sure how that works, but it's shining out in 3 directions. Basically, this way, that way, and that way. And that is the only thing you see on this island. Like that is from the ship and everything else you've seen. That is the only thing here.
I think we just had to, without speaking. I assume we just all head towards that.
Yeah, I guess so.
Towards it, or have we already landed when we see this?
No, you would have seen it from miles out. Actually, it's designed to be seen. It's basically there so to guide people into the island, because the only use for this island, you can see this like water in the middle. Mm-hmm. The only use people have for this island is if they run out of water while they're at sea, they stop here and resupply. There's also some wood here you could use for minor repairs to a ship.
Okay. But
Okay.
there doesn't appear to be much settlement here at all.
No.
I think, once we landed and once we, pull the boats up, onto the shore away from the water, Ernest just sort of, looks around, sort of steps back and forth a bit. It's good to be back on dry land.
Well, Edwin is actually he's been at sea so long, when you step on dry land, you actually feel more seasick because you're expecting it still to be rocking.
Yeah, you still have your sea legs on.
And plus, he's really upset about handing over his artifact, so maybe now he throws up.
Okay. Are you carrying the artifact, or are you having me carry the artifact?
Edwin's carrying the artifact. He's had it this whole time. He probably has these documents. He's tried to have been researching the artifact in the storm, but it probably hasn't been very successful.
Yeah.
What's Nico been up to?
Nico's been
right?
Yeah, Nico's still with you. He's been pretty quiet. He's been trying to placate Edwin a bit when he sees that giving over the artifact is a problem for him.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, other than that, he's been rather introspective.
Okay. I think we should all go together. No splitting up. And he looks left and right. And there's four of us. There's the ship hand, and then the three of us, right?
Kirill is also with you.
And Carol, so there's five of us.
Okay.
Let's go together. And I think he starts trudging off in front of everyone else. How plate armored boots would interact with sand. Probably very uncomfortably.
Yeah, especially in that part where you had to jump out of the boat and get in the water to pull it up onto the beach.
Yeah, maybe Ernest man, maybe he isn't wearing his armor actually.
I mean, it would be smart not to wear your armor in a shitty little boat.
Yeah. Well,
Ernest
will probably have it all.
The whole travel on the boat?
No.
Gripping in full plate as you're trying
when
to
practicing,
stick up?
he'd be practicing it during the only few hours per day that he could possibly muster up the courage to stand on his own 2 feet. He practiced in full armor. I think he brought his armor with him, and so instead of trudging off, as soon as we get off of the sand onto grass, he starts putting it on over top of his clothes.
Okay.
This probably takes 10 minutes. So
yeah, so
we spend some time doing that.
So Nico lets you all know that that you have to go up to the lighthouse and our contact should be there.
Okay, well, Edwin is let's go, let's get this over with. I want to meet who these people are.
Okay. So yeah, as you approach the lighthouse, you see that there's the tower of the lighthouse, and there's also a house built onto the back of it, ostensibly for the keeper.
Does the light look like a flame?
You're not quite sure. It's bright as hell.
And it's a steady light or a
yeah, it's a steady light going out in 3 directions. It's not rotating or anything.
Yeah, it's just okay, partially covered. Ernest, I think we'll turn to Lord Edwin, and he offers to go first. He says, "Sir, should I be the one to knock?"
Yeah. Edwin just shakes his head and says, "No, Ernest, I think I better take responsibility for this."
Okay.
They haven't brought us all this way just to kill us. So
It's rather optimistic of you.
Yeah, I was gonna say. In Ernest's head, he's like, "You never know."
So
Killing a
Edwin
noble
tries to get up into the lighthouse. Edwin will try and get up into the lighthouse.
Okay. So yeah, you come up and there's this rather wind-beaten looking door. The paint has pretty much chipped off of this entire house. And yeah, it's just like 5 slat boards with 2 boards like nailed across it, holding it together, and a knob.
Yeah, try the door.
You try to open it?
Yeah, try to open the door.
Okay, yeah, it's locked.
Alright, I knocked the door.
Okay.
I pushed the door open. No, it's a pool door. Alright. Yeah, I knocked it.
So you hear some shuffling around inside, and yeah, you hear like footsteps shuffle up to the door, and you hear like the latch rattle a little bit, and the door creaks open, and you look down, and there's this small, knobbly little man. His cheeks are really jowly. He's wearing very loose-fitting clothing. And he looks up at you and he says, "Can I help you, sir?"
I say, I'm here with Nico and Carol. They've told me to come here and seek your aid.
He looks at you, looks you up and down, and says, "Oh, you're those people we've been expecting. Why don't you come in for a while?"
Thank you. And I go in and I promptly make the entire lighthouse wet just by standing there.
Ernest steps in next. His head is on a swivel. He takes in the surroundings.
Okay. So yeah, you come in and the place is fairly comfortable looking. There's a fireplace with a roaring fire. There's a couple of chairs, a couch, a nice dining table, just with animal skin rugs on the floor. In one of the chairs next to the fireplace sits a man. He looks to be, I don't know, how old is Matrim? In his 20s, mid-20s?
Yeah, it's mid-20s.
And when you come close to him, you can smell the salty, sea smell of someone that is rarely on land.
So it's like what we've been smelling for the last 3 weeks, only more pungent, even though we're off of the oceans.
Yeah.
Somehow it's worse.
Yeah. I think, Ernest just by association, has to has his eyes and focus for a second in order to not throw up.
So yeah, that's.
Is there anyone else there? Just the two?
Yeah, just those 2 people.
Okay.
You can smell some kind of fish stew cooking on the fireplace.
Edwin, he takes off his heavy raincoat. And he's surprisingly well dressed underneath. He's got the staff in one hand, and he looks at Nico and Carol, not sure who he's supposed to give it to.
Yeah, Nico kind of just shrugs. He's like, "They told us that someone would meet us here."
What does Ernest do? I think Ernest just goes because this is a one-room house, right?
Yeah, pretty much. There's some a ladder on one side that leads up to a loft where you'd assume a bedroom is.
Ernest goes and stands in a corner and if possible, behind the door. Don't know if that is possible. And yeah, he's just watching everyone, looking He's probably looking fairly intimidating. He's feeling like he doesn't want to move or he might throw up. Because he's still feeling a bit woozy after rowing on the rowboat. Probably even more rickety than the big boat, so yeah.
Alright, so yeah, the small man looks at you, Ernest, and he's like, "Why don't you come in, lad? There's fish stew on the burner over there. No one's going to hurt you here."
I look at this little guy. Is he a dwarf?
No, he's just a little guy.
Okay, I was a little bit curious about that.
Yeah, he comes in and he like takes off his hat, and you see that you're kind of surprised he's got this like shock of red hair.
All right,
it's on the top of his head.
I ask him, like, how long have you been on this little island?
All my life, sir. I'm the lighthouse keeper.
So you have a family here?
Well, I did, but they were out fishing and there was a storm. I haven't seen them in 20 years.
Oh no, that's terrible. Anyway, I just looks really sad about that.
I think.
So yeah, how does Matrim react to these people coming in? Like, you know that the only people coming here were the ones that are supposed to be there.
I guess he kind of rolls his eyes and looks up, and he's kind of like, "Finally, I could get off this island. Praise the winds."
What are you wearing? Like your picture portrait shows you like you're shirtless and like mid boat sailing. What do you look like when you're on land?
I guess I have. Well, I guess in this setting I would be barefoot with like loose fitting tunic and pants, and near me is a cutlass, and I'm also wearing a dagger around my waist. I probably, like I still smell like ocean and salt, but it's probably about it right now. I'm not sure. Like, is there really all just the lighthouse here, Zen?
No, you know that you're supposed to lead them. You're supposed to lead them down here to just the outskirts of the forest there, about 3.5 miles inland.
Oh, okay.
All right. I think Ernest gives Matron like a nod, just like an acknowledgement that you exist and are here.
Mm-hmm. Ernest hasn't spoken yet, right?
Nope.
Okay.
Very. Well, he is feeling sick. He doesn't trust himself to open his mouth, but he also is being like cranky, I guess you could call it.
Yeah, Edwin is just like talking with the lighthouse keeper, unless it seems like the other people are noticing him.
Yeah. What does Kirill do? Basically, do the rest of you guys all sit down at the table except for Ernest, or?
Kirill is over next to a window, like trying to not smell the fish stew because he's still very, very sick.
Okay.
And
probably
Nico is probably
that is possible.
Yeah, Nico probably walks over to Matrim and introduces himself and says, "So you're here to meet us then?"
Yes, that's the plan. Whenever we're ready to go, we can go.
Oh, then this isn't the place. All right, where are we going?
Further on land.
Wait. So we're meeting. Like Ernest just sort of like uncrosses his arms and stands up and like takes a few steps towards everyone else. So you're taking us to another undisclosed location.
Ernest, it's all right. It's all very cloak and dagger. These people, they don't like being in the spotlight, you know.
I like look directly up and like I'm looking at where the like through the roof where the lighthouse is.
Edwin just looks at Matrim and says, "You look thrilled to be going even further inland."
I'm sorry, what?
He couldn't catch you.
Yeah.
I said, like, Matrim seems really thrilled that he's going even further inland.
Yeah. And then upon hearing Ernest talk, he just kind of like Ernest like gets like this like very centered look at and looked at and sort of like once or twice over, and then he just keeps going. And he's just like, yes, we must go further inland, and whenever you're ready, let's go. The sooner we get there, the sooner we leave.
I get Lord Edwin's housecoat, like raincoat for him.
Yeah, I let Ernest help me put the raincoat back on.
Yeah.
It's probably so wet, I could instantly get wet again, but...
Oh, yeah.
It's wetter outside.
So you guys are just going to take off?
Yeah.
Pretty much immediately. Ernest wants to get us.
I am antsy. I am tired of sitting. So unless someone stops me, I am just like, let's go.
Right, yeah, as you're all walking out the door, you hear behind you, and I made all this fish stew.
They're trying to poison us, of course.
I just smile at the
well, I guess the dogs eat well tonight.
So I think, Ernest like holds the door open for everyone, and then as he might be the last one out. Just
back into the storm.
You can just eat it all yourself, can't you?
Sir, I weigh about as much as your leg. I don't think I can eat all this fish stew.
I think he like begins to feel bad, and so yeah.
Well, I imagine Matrim had already eaten, so like he hadn't really, like he doesn't really care about the other. That part didn't really.
Just as I'll take a bowl if I can eat it on the go.
Oh, please, sir, have all you want. And he like hands you a bowl, and you know.
Yeah, I'm like eating it in the rain.
Edwin will take a bowl as well.
Okay.
All right, yeah. So he gives you some travel stew.
All right.
Okay. We like put it. We like dump out the water in our like
and
replace it with stew.
We have thermoses. We have medieval thermoses.
But yeah.
All right. So yeah,
the next march is accompanied by many slurpings.
Yep.
Does this stew taste really watery to you, Ernest?
I didn't hear you.
Does this stew taste really watery to you, Ernest?
I think that might be the rain, sir. We're probably both yelling this.
Probably.
Yeah, Matrim, you were leading us.
Yeah, Matrim, you roughly know where you're going. It was explained to you that, like, they showed you the map of the island, and they showed you that there's a place right there that has it's an old logging longhouse. Like people like stopped and started like logging this place, but it's been abandoned for a long time.
Okay.
This would be a really good place to take a break, by the way.
All right, yeah. We'll take a break while you guys are making the 3.5 mile march.
Yeah. I'm gonna try and see if I can
everyone.
Fix my audio for you guys. So.
Okay.
We'll be right back.
All right.
I sort of just told are we still live?
Yeah.
Okay. We might have to cut this an hour short because I sort of forgot to tell all of the rest of the group that I'm house sitting right now, as you can tell from my different background, and the owners get back in about 2 hours. So I'm gonna have to go with that. I'm probably gonna have to go if that happens. I don't know if they'll mind someone talking in their house for an hour.
Okay. Oh, that's fine.
Okay.
Me.
Yeah, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it.
Yep. All right. Thanks, guys. We'll be right back.